Cricket Life Stories with me, Neel Khagram. Today we're joined by Lockie Ferguson. Lockie, thank you for your time. We're going
No
through
worries.
this, the world's going through this pandemic of coronavirus. How's it down in New Zealand?
Yeah, we're doing well in New Zealand. We've been in lockdown for 3 or so weeks, level 4, and our curve's certainly going in the right direction. So hopefully in another week or so we might go back to level 3, and then slowly go back to normal life at some point, and hopefully some more cricket. But at this stage, it's been interesting times.
Yeah, fingers crossed. So let's take it all the way back with yourself. Born in Auckland, New Zealand. When did the passion for cricket first start?
So I grew up in central Auckland with a big brother who was a very good sportsman, and my father was the coach of all our sports teams, soccer and cricket. And so we certainly lived in a household. My mum was a very good sportswoman, so we lived in a household that just loved playing sport, and also, of course, being a Kiwi, very outdoorsy. So any opportunity we can get to be outdoors was always great. And then cricket probably wasn't my favourite sport. It was certainly a sport I really enjoyed. And not till I was probably at high school did I think that this was the sport I wanted to play. I played soccer, really enjoyed golf for a long time. But really I just try to play every sport that I was allowed to. I went to Auckland Grammar, and I think that's sort of where cricket took off a little bit, where I was training in a net and one of the top coaches saw me bowling quickly in a net and asked if I was Mitchell Ferguson's younger brother, and that's my older brother Mitch, and he had played first 11 at Grammar and was the opening bowler there, and so it sort of semi-started there. Yeah.
Now, I noticed you didn't mention rugby. When people talk about New Zealand and sports, the All Blacks always comes to the forefront of people's mind. Did that never take your fancy?
No, I did. I did play rugby. I played it at high school as well. Played decent level there too, but I was always heavy set for my age group, so I had to play open weight rugby, which was always pretty challenging. And amongst a lot of Polynesian boys at high school who were far bigger guys, and they tended to grow up a lot quicker at that age, and so I was, played first five and played fullback, under 15s, open weight, and certainly just felt like I was a bit of a speed bump sometimes. But I enjoyed it. I played a good couple of seasons there and made a lot of good mates. Just wasn't quite the sport for me. Just wasn't big enough, I don't think.
And then you mentioned your brother Mitch, a
Yeah.
good cricketer in his own right. Was he a fast bowler as well?
Yeah, he's he was a fast bowler. Certainly a more talented sportsman than I ever was, but was sort of riddled with a lot of injuries through high school, which is pretty common for sportsmen, particularly like my brother, who was very quick, and I just don't think his body could control the sort of speed that he was putting out, and so he had a torn glute muscle, tore his glute off his bone at sort of sixth form, which is second to last year of school. Just was riddled with a lot of injuries, but was a very good footballer, played New Zealand underage representatives. Just one of those guys who plays any sport and is exceptionally good at it, even now. Doesn't play golf for 6 months and goes out and shoots 9 over. It's ridiculous. So just one of those guys.
One of those guys, right?
Yeah.
So were you always able to bowl fast, even from a young age?
Yeah, I think I was an opening batter and an opening bowler sort of through the ages. And I didn't really think I was a quick bowler, but certainly now looking back, there were times when I guess people said that I was quick. But I think when you're going through the underages, you don't really know what is quick because you're obviously not facing yourself as much. But I guess I was sort of there or thereabouts with rep teams being the opening bowler. I used to love batting as well. But as I've sort of continued to play cricket, I've batted less and less, and so that skill's sort of dissipated a little bit.
Did you face any injury problems growing up as a fast bowler? Going through that growth stage of your body. Did you suffer?
Yeah, I mean, certainly I didn't grow quickly like some other bowlers you hear about. Sort of they grow really fast within a year, which puts a lot of strain on the body. But yeah, I had a stress fracture maybe a month out from the Under-19 World Cup, which was pretty stressful and frustrating at the time because couple of years before that, I wasn't even in contention for the Auckland side, and then I kept working away and managed to get into the under-19 squad as a non-travelling reserve the year before, and then I was sort of gearing up to go to the World Cup, which we were hosting in New Zealand. But yeah, I had a stress fracture about a month earlier, which was a bit frustrating at the time. And then yeah, that put me out sort of for the end of my first 11 season at Grammar, and yeah, it was just one of those things that takes a lot of time. But took the winter off, got strong, did a lot of Pilates that my mum sort of encouraged me to get into from knowledge that she had got from Dion Nash, and then yeah, just sort of try to work on getting strong. But yeah, I had injuries pretty much till I was 23, 24, pretty steadily.
When did you first get into the Auckland setup? I know in the UK and England they have like academy systems. Is it similar back home?
Yeah, we have under nine. We have sort of under 17s, under 19s, and then Auckland A, and then obviously the Aces as a contracted player squad. So I sort of was under 17s, non-traveling reserve 1 year. Then I played the next year. Then the next under 19s I was a reserve, and then I played the next year, and then I made NZ sort of as a non-traveller, but never really made the teams, sort of just made the teams kind of thing. And then, yeah, still well and quick through those stages, but I had absolutely no idea where it was going. And then, then I played quite a lot of Auckland A. Me and Mitch Satner actually played a lot against each other at that time because, of course, he was going up against the likes of Dan Vittoria and Bruce Martin. So he couldn't get into the ND team at the time, and so we played a lot against each other.
Anyone else that you grew up with in the same team? I know you're big mates with
Jimmy
Jimmy.
Neesham, yeah, we played a lot of school cricket together, and played against Corey. Hit one of the biggest sixes I've ever seen at Auckland Grammar into the prison, because at Auckland Grammar our first 11 pitch was down the bottom. One side was a rock climbing wall, which was pretty sweet, and the other side was the Mount Eden prison. Yeah. So a few cricket balls have been sent into there. Luckily, I've never been hit into there, but and then yeah, I played Auckland A, and yeah, once again, sort of in and out of that team. Was taking my cricket reasonably seriously. Like I enjoyed playing it, but probably not as professional as I could have been. Going to university and enjoying my time there as well. And then I finished my degree at Auckland and decided that I'd go to Melbourne to try and play cricket there with a contact. And then I was going to try to find some work in advertising in Melbourne and really start fresh over there. And then I was there about 2 or 3 months and got a call from Paul Strang that they wanted to contract me for that season, and I was 21. And yeah, they contracted me that season, so I had to come home for the summer.
So was that 2013? Am I correct in saying that was your debut season?
Yeah, geez, I think it was end of 2012 to 2013. Yeah.
Yeah. Then your main, would it be fair to say your main breakthrough season came in the 2014-15 season? Reading back some stats, got 21 wickets at an average of 23. You said you just started to take cricket a bit more seriously. Was that a time when you felt, this is where I belong?
Well, when I got that contract to come back to play for Auckland, I'd been in some academies over the winters and things like that, but I'll be honest, I certainly wasn't in any shape to bowl as a first-class bowler. I was pretty overweight. At one stage, I clocked up 100 kgs, and now I'm about 90, so quite a lot more, obviously. Less muscle back then as well, but yeah, certainly wasn't in any shape. Club cricket was fine, of course, because you play once or twice a week, but that first season was a real eye-opener in terms of the physicality of having it as a full-time job and training most days and gymming. And so I got a lot of injuries, just your classic like groin, and then your glute, and then your hamstring, and then niggles, and then ankle issues and heel bruising and stuff like that, which your body's just adjusting to the workload, going from playing club cricket and training twice a week and going to, you know, a first class cricketer as a professional. It was a big difference. And so yeah, that year I sort of decided, look, I was going to work on my fitness, and so lost a bit of weight, got my strength up, still had injuries, and then the next winter after that season, obviously didn't play that much the first season. Next season, got really strong in the gym, worked out with our strength and conditioning coach at the time that I was putting a lot of force through my body. Something like 13 times my body weight was going through my front leg. And so every kg that I lost was 13 kgs less of force. And so that kind of resonated with me in terms of having to lose weight so that I could bowl for longer, but also talked a lot with Anthony Sharp about creating muscle so that not only could I create the speed, but most importantly, have the breaks and the support that my body wouldn't sort of break down. And so that was that sort of change in my career where I went from just being a uni student who could bowl quick and was like naturally pretty fit. I could do most things and run, and I enjoyed running, so could get away with going through a season. But that winter, certainly I decided that I'd put the hard work in at the gym and get fit and strong and not really have as many excuses. And then, yeah, so the following seasons is when I started to get more opportunity because I was just available to play and wasn't getting injured. And the other thing is, it's amazing that you do a skill when you're not injured, you can actually go and train every day. And so it's just that 1,000 hours. If you're sitting on the sideline because you're injured, you can't work on your skill. But if you're fit and you're training every day, then just naturally by doing that, you're of course going to get much better. And that's when it sort of started to kick off.
And in the 2015-16 season, you won the Plunkett Shield, which is the title, I believe, in New Zealand for Auckland. You got 31 wickets. For yourself personally, again, a proud moment for you?
Yeah, like I'm not really a big one for stats, if I'm honest, or records, certainly trophies. That was a pretty special one to win because first-class cricket, as everyone talks about, it's sort of the hard graft. And as a fast bowler, it's not the first spell you bowl, it's the third and the fourth one you bowl in the afternoon that can win games. And that was a big turning season where I went from being a bowler who was struggling to get through a day's cricket to the guy who was in earlier seasons to the guy who was sort of the fit one who was looking for the ball and wanting to take wickets at the end of the day. And that's when I really loved bowling quick. And when you take those wickets at tough times when everyone's tired, you know, that sort of gave me a lot of confidence and really helped me fall in love with playing the longer form of the game. And then, yeah, for sure that year we had the likes of Mitch McClenaghan, Michael Bates, a lot of senior bowlers around me. And I just learnt so much in terms of what I could achieve and more importantly, what my body could handle and what it took to sort of play and be a professional cricketer at that stage.
And then the following year, you got international recognition. 2016, December 2016, you won the international debut for New Zealand against Australia. Do you remember your first wicket, David Warner?
Well, I remember he hit me for 4 pretty early on. Pulled me for 4, and then, yeah, fortunately, he chopped one on, which is always nice. But, yeah, not certainly excited to get a debut, but debuts are certainly not my strength, except for T20 probably. But I've had 2 absolute shocker debuts for New Zealand, being my test and my one day. didn't finish the game in both. But yeah, nice to, I guess, get a wicket. Probably the first time I realised how quick I was bowling for a reasonable amount of time, and I was obviously pretty jacked up and excited to play. And in Australia as well, where everything's hardened a little bit. But yeah, I only bowled I think seven and a bit overs. All my legs cramped up. Biggest learning curve about staying hydrated and taking on plenty of fluid, and realizing how much I actually do sweat as well. Not only because of the sport, but because of the anxiety of playing. So,
did you feel ready at the call up?
Yeah, but I didn't know what ready was for international. That's the difference probably. Like I was playing first class and playing perfectly fine. Body was sweet. Getting through full days of first class cricket, bowling 25 overs, no sweat, no dramas. But then the anxiety, I guess, of going and playing a debut in Australia, where obviously it's a bit different to New Zealand, where everything's heightened, and it was a whole new learning curve for me, from the pre-match taking photos to interviews, and then of course because I was the debut player, everyone wanted to talk to me, and then training was heightened and the heat was hotter, and all these sort of little things that perhaps I didn't really think too much about because I was just trying to prepare myself to play a game, sort of unfolded. And then I didn't get through the overs, and certainly a big learning curve at that stage, and pretty frustrating to start an international career like that.
But then you did say that your T20 career internationally started off much better. You got the opportunity against Bangladesh, 2 wickets in your first 2 balls.
Yeah. Well, that's different circumstance, certainly in Napier. Smaller crowd, smaller ground, and then just one of those things. I think I bowled full toss first ball that he hit to mid off, which I won't claim that was the scouting notes, but certainly will take the wicket. And then nicked off next guy to Corey. I think Corey Anderson's playing at Gully. So I don't know, pretty one of those things. T20 is one of those amazing games where you can bowl terribly and go 3 for spit, or you can bowl really well and get pumped around the ground. So, but that was a bit nicer in terms of debuts for sure.
Then you were also called into the Test squad that was playing against the West Indies. You didn't get picked to play in the final 11, but at that stage, obviously, you've made your ODI debut, T20, and you've been recognised to be picked for the squad in the longer format. In your mind during that time, what did you feel was your greatest suit, or was it just a case of you wanted to play all forms?
I think I've been picked from my first class records more than anything. Probably I'd had not played a huge amount of one-day cricket for Auckland. Spent a lot of time carrying the drinks for the team in previous years, and T20 I'd played a little bit, but certainly wasn't confident with my skill execution in that format. So red ball was certainly where I felt more comfortable playing. And then leading up to that West Indies test, I played the warm-up game against the West Indies, and I got 5 for, and sort of went through their top order there, and I guess got picked up to go into the test team. I believe Timmy was having his first daughter, so he wasn't playing the game, so that's why Matt Henry played, and then I was carrying drinks. So yes, once again, pretty exciting to be part of that squad, and it all happened pretty quickly. But that game certainly watched from the sideline.
And then also 2017, you were involved in the IPL with Pune. I know you've been picked up with the Kolkata Knight Riders, but talk us through the whole IPL glitz and glamour. Did you enjoy it?
Well, I turned up to India and I got a fever. I don't know where I got it, probably off the plane and travel. So I was actually bedridden for the first couple of weeks. And I actually lost 6 kg when I first arrived there. So they were calling me the Loch Ness Monster because none of the players had seen me yet. They just thought I was a myth. But struggled the first 2 weeks. Flem was the coach, so I had a conversation with him, and he sort of just said, "Oh, mate, just relax. You're more or less here just as backup for other bowlers. So just settle in and enjoy yourself. If you have any questions." He was great. Had pretty casual conversations with him. But then, yeah, I think it may have been our third game. We went up to Gujarat, which was the hottest place I've ever been in my life. Had no experience of that at all before. Was still not 100% at all. And that was going to be my first game. And I think it was like 50 degrees or something in the daytime. And then the sun went down. It was like low 40s. It was something ridiculous. And I didn't know what had happened. When I got off the bus, I thought we were in a heated room. And then I continued to find out when we went outside that it was just baking hot. So that was my first game. I think played in the early 40s. Bowled against Baz, bowled a couple good balls to him early on, and then he danced down as he does down the leg side and banged me over cover for 6. But yeah, look, it was an interesting first experience. Just the noise, I think, is probably the most memorable part for me. That regardless of if you're a home or away team, the fans just cheer every bit of cricket, and if you turn around and wave to the crowd, they go absolutely ballistic. And to come from New Zealand, where it's nice if we get half the stand filled sometimes for our domestic games, to go to India where there's literally seems like there's people on people, just so excited to watch every bit of cricket, and the noise in the ground is just it was deafening, but a really cool experience. And then I left that game and got sick again for another week or so, and then finally came back from that, and I'm pretty sure that I had every bug possible, so that I wasn't going to get anything for the rest of the trip. But pretty amazing. I think just the big things is when you share a room with the likes of MS Dhoni, Jinkarane, Ben Stokes was on the side, Faf du Plessis. The list goes on of great players that was in that side. Imi Tahir, then you actually get to know them and hang out with them a lot, particularly the overseas pros, and realise that they're just normal blokes. Obviously very, very, very good cricketers and exceptional in that area, but have same problems, have same thoughts, have same interests that the rest of us do. And for me, that was pretty special, getting along with those guys and I guess being on the same level as them. And good friends to have going forward too.
And in 2018, you come over to the UK and play for Derbyshire, some county cricket. How was that as an experience?
Yeah, enjoyed it for sure. I think I was sort of in and out of the Black Cap side this previous season, still finding my feet a little bit, and really wanted to play some cricket in the off season so that I could work on my skills. I thought I was getting to a point where my body was feeling really good and I was being able to bowl quick for a lot, regularly and being comfortable doing that for long periods of time. And so, got my manager, Steve Wilkins, to sort of help me out trying to find a gig overseas, which was quite a struggle. Not a lot of teams looking to pick me up, but fortunately Derby, we had some connects. John Wright, the coach there, one of the great Kiwi batsmen, and then asked me to come over and play. And once again, another experience where I was the overseas pro amongst a few others, but certainly knowing that I was going to play every game, it's different pressures. IPL was different because I pretty much knew I was just a fill-in, but Derby, turning up, knowing that you had to perform and that they were paying you to be the overseas pro was a new experience.
Did you enjoy that pressure?
Well, the first few games, you're a bit nervous and you kind of want to get that first wicket and things, but I really enjoy playing in England. I played a club season there a few years back and didn't get many wickets actually that year. I broke my arm during it, but really enjoyed playing over there. And then for Derby, something about the pitch there went really well for me in T20. So once again, enjoyed playing there. And it's always nice when you're playing well because there is extra pressure as an overseas pro, but certainly if you can have a good couple of first games up front, then you can just sort of ride the wave. And the Derby boys really punched above their weight that year, and have done since in T20, which is always great to see. I guess a smaller county do really well in the big comps. But we had a lot of fun, and enjoyed my time playing in the blast there, and look forward to hopefully going back and playing again. But certainly enjoyed playing on the English wickets.
So with the World Cup year, which was the following year, 2019, do you think that kind of experience honing your skills in English conditions helped?
Oh, for sure. I think that more than anything, just the confidence I took from the year before, having played at the grounds. I mean, it's interesting when you go overseas and you haven't played at a ground that you're always a little bit nervous because you're not sure how it plays and the dimensions. And obviously, every ground's different, but certainly when you've played a bit in England and you have confidence that you've gone well in all different grounds there, you can take that confidence and into the World Cup, I guess. But yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed my time at Derby. Took me a while to learn how to bowl with a Duke, that's for sure, sheepers. But then yeah, sort of
Yeah,
picked it up.
what is that? So you used the Kookaburra ball.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of people say there are differences. Is it just the feeling in the hand? Is it just the seam? Can
The
you kind
feeling's
of
fine. Like the feeling of the ball is absolutely fine. That sort of wasn't the issue. It's just the first, you're playing in cloudy conditions when the ball swings a lot, and so they're not. Or of course, all of a sudden you're trying to swing the ball, and so one ball swings a lot, and then another ball doesn't swing, and just the control of it's so different. And I guess it took me a while, probably a game or so, to actually work out when it was going to swing and when to use the swing, and then also just to maintain the same action that I have when I bowl with a kookaburra, rather than trying to swing the ball and then of course to start banking over a little bit more and you have less control. So it was all a great learning experience. And yeah, look, I didn't have a huge amount of success early on, but certainly got a bit more used to it, and thoroughly enjoyed playing county cricket there. We played a game at Lords, which was pretty awesome as well. So but yeah, certainly a learning experience, and it took me some time, but no, I really enjoyed my time with Derby.
And then going into the World Cup the following year, 2019, going into the tournaments, was there an expectation within the team that you guys could go far?
Yeah, we had been playing some great cricket. I guess I was just happy to be part of the squad. Sort of felt that first change role for me personally was one I was trying to really grab a hold of, because we've got such great opening bowlers, swing bowlers in New Zealand. And the likes of Tim Trent, Matt Henry, the list goes on, of guys who just bowl so well up front. And for me, I thought, well, I'm not a huge swing bowler. Obviously, I have pace, so I try to own that first change role. And the summer before was, starting to find my feet and understand how that might look. And then, of course, my death bowling. The more I did, the more I worked on it, the better it got, and sort of try to nail that Yorker. And so leading into the World Cup, I'd come off a pretty poor IPL, got dropped a few times in that, and actually struggled quite a lot mentally because the expectation leading into the IPL for me was quite a lot. And for whatever reason, I didn't perform as well as I'd hoped. And so, yeah, wasn't feeling great at the IPL about my bowling at the time, and came back to the Black Caps family, the group, and once again felt at home. And so certainly it was nice to go to England with confidence, having played in England, but also confidence to be back in a team where I knew my role, knew my position, and sort of felt at home again.
Yeah, then I know you said you don't look at stats, but you were the second leading wicket taker in the tournament, taking 19 wickets. But then, should we talk about the final?
Oh yeah, I'm happy to. I think the Black Caps team, we before the tournament, we thought that we were definitely contention for the finals in terms of the semis. We've been playing great one-day cricket, and the bowling attack we had was, in my opinion, pretty exceptional. Everyone knew exactly what their role was, and all bowlers on their day could have a man of the match performance, and that's pretty special. But also, I think the key, I've talked about it before, but the bowling attack prided itself on when a bowler bowled well, the next bowler came on, would pick up exactly where the guy left off, and just keep building that pressure. And certainly we weren't trying to do anything special or create miracles, but we knew if the bowling attack as a unit bowled well together, we would build pressure from both ends, and that's how you'd get wickets, particularly in the UK when its batters are expected to score kind of big runs. And yeah, we took that confidence early on. We played that warm-up game against India, bowled really nicely there, sort of went through them, and that gave us a lot of confidence. Didn't bowl very well against West Indies. Dre Russ and the likes hit a couple of big bombs. Chris Gale had some nice big bombs, but yeah, we took confidence and we had quite a nice lead into the competition where we sort of were playing the big teams at the end. So that sort of format suited us a little bit too. But yeah, did really well. Sort of qualified. I think it was the West Indies game we qualified with that wicket on the last ball. Old Carlos Brathwaite, who played with him at Kolkata, he batted exceptionally well that day, and but fortunately we got ahead. I think that pretty much sealed our sort of qualification into semis. And then I picked up a little hamstring grade 1 tear for the English game, which was our last round robin game. So I was certainly a little nervous going into the India semi-final, and that was the craziest game one of the craziest games I've ever played. Over 2 days, we scored, I think it was 240 odd, and it was such an interesting vibe.
Yeah,
interesting vibe because we thought 240 was an okay score. We sort of got the feeling from India that they knew that we hadn't got enough with their batting attack. Then we went and slept on it that night, and I remember sort of my girlfriend was with me at the time, that she we were sort of talking about it and asking if I was nervous, and I said, well, we've sort of got nothing to lose at this point because we've got runs on the board and all the pressure's on India. And then next day, Trent and Matt Henry, one of the best opening spells I've ever seen, just knocked the top off and really put the pressure back on India. And yeah, it was an amazing game of cricket, and pretty special to get the win and go through the final. And then the final, yeah, geez, what a day that was. This is the longest longest one-day game of cricket I've ever played. But
what was it like playing in such a hype from a pressure and in your mental perspective? What was it like actually playing in such a pressure cricket environment?
Yeah, I think that it's a testament probably to our group, the Black Caps, and how we approach pressure. And we're all good friends, and of course we did talk about it and spoke about what it would be like, but we'd all played at Lords a few weeks earlier against Australia, and we knew what the ground was going to be like. It's not a huge sort of crowd, so the noise isn't going to be over the top, but it is going to be a high pressure situation. It's a World Cup final, but for me personally, I mean, I can't comment for other players, but more or less you just try to do the same routine, because what I've found with playing cricket all over the world is that we play at so many different grounds that you just need to have some things that are the same. And so to give you insight, I played in the same kit the whole World Cup. I would just wash the same kit, same clothes, just so that it would be the same for me every game, and I'd fold it up, and then that would just sort of give me peace of mind and throughout the tournament. And then, yeah, for me, it was the same again. I just had a slightly bigger hotel room for sure, but at the same time, my kit was all the same. My prep was the same. We still laughed and carried on at training before the game, and for sure there was pressure, but it's also super exciting. And I think all the pressure was probably on England for the World Cup, being the home country, and often people sort of see us as the underdogs, and we like to be that team. And yeah, it was a pretty exceptional day of cricket. But yeah, the circumstances weren't in our favour that day, and unfortunately, that's just what happens in sport sometimes. But I'm sure the game won't be forgotten anytime soon. And
yeah, so on the actual day itself, you took 3 big wickets: Bairstow, Butler, and Wokes. You took a great catch, which got rid of Morgan. When the super over, when you're in between innings, when you're just about to go and play the super over, were there any discussions about you taking the ball, or was it always going to be Trent Bolt?
Nah, there wasn't any talks of me. I think Trent's been exceptional for a long period of time for New Zealand, and there was no one more we could trust than him. The guy's, I can't speak any more highly of him. The work ethic that he has to play those big roles in big games like that, he had done the work, and he was the one that we trusted in doing that, and we still would trust him to do it again and again. And obviously, the over at the end of the first 50 overs, things went against him. I was at point. He nailed 2 Yorkers straight away, and I was like, oh, here we go. This guy's on song. And then Stokes got one away, and then I guess the proceedings of the rest of that over has been pretty well documented. But that's the sort of time where you're just like, wow, really, is this gonna turn again, this game, and go England's way? And it did. But yeah, trust Bolty. His skill set hitting Yorkers and hitting death is exceptional, and he's done it for years and years under pressure for many different sides, and we completely trusted him in that situation. And unfortunately, there's got to be a winner and a loser, and Stokesy batted very well that day. And he's another big game player who sometimes when you look back on those games, you go, geez, that guy's under so much pressure, and to continually churn out runs and perform not only for England but also when you're needed to, that's pretty exceptional. So yeah.
Yeah, one last question. I don't want to obviously dwell on it, but in terms of the ruling, when did you guys, were you aware of that rule, the boundary count rule? Did the umpires come in just before the Super Over, or how was this communicated to the players? Because I know for the spectators it was slightly confusing at times as well. When was the clarity given to you guys?
Well, in fairness, we got told the rules at the start of the comp, so we knew the Super Over rules, that boundary count, things like that would count back. Admittedly, when I heard the rules right at the start of the comp, I didn't really think much of it because I didn't think it would get to that stage. I don't think anyone would have. But then when we bowled that over, the Super Over, then we went inside, the batters, the team was sort of let know and saying that we need to win this game, not just draw it. We need to win the Super Over. And then, so that's when we sort of had the understanding that we had to get, I think, the runs to win the game, not just draw that Super Over, and it wouldn't go to another Super Over. But look, there's been so much discussion about the ruling, how it wasn't fair. And sure, there's a very big argument for the fact that the game was tied in a World Cup final, and maybe boundary count's not the option. But also those were the rules leading into the game. And I'm sure there's many other sport where you could and ah about the rules. But we all knew the rules going into the game. And of course, we didn't think it was going to get to that point where we drew the Super Over as well. But yeah, there's not much we can do about it. And congratulations to England. I guess they're World Cup champions.
Yeah, so obviously great sportsmanship shown by you guys, given the circumstances, etc. Must have been difficult. A word on your captain, Kane Williamson, named player of the tournament. How is he as a leader of men?
Not a bad batsman, that guy, is he? Kane, what a great guy. Played with him, obviously my captain the whole time I've been with the Caps, and he's been great in the sense that he gives a lot of leeway to the bowler to bowl how he wants to bowl, and sure, you have to prove yourself and prove that your plans are going to be successful and that you'll stick to them and actually be able to execute your plans. But he's very open-minded as to how you're thinking and also different ways to get people out. And certainly through the World Cup, really got a lot of confidence from him to bowl different ways. Certainly against Australia was pretty memorable with different fields and just thinking slightly differently rather than just trying to hit top of off, because the better the batters are, often they play that ball exceptionally well. So he's very open to it. And then I think he probably got a lot more confidence in me through that campaign as to my bowling. So certainly a good person to work with, but he had an exceptional tournament, and him and Roscoe saved us a lot, really, through a lot of those games and put runs on the board that meant that our bowlers could sort of defend. which was much needed. And that South African game was one of the greatest hundreds I've ever seen, under so much pressure again. And the guy just keeps stepping up, and I just think he just loves stepping up in the situations, but he's so humble about it, and he will never accept sort of the acknowledgements of it. But I don't think it's any secret how exceptional he is at batting. And once again, the guy hits so many balls and works so hard. It's nice to see the rewards come from that.
And then a few months later, when we switched coach to the Red Bull format, you were called into the squads against England, the Test squad. And initially, the first Test match against Australia, you weren't picked then, but you get your opportunity again in the Perth Test match to make your Test debut. A proud moment for you to get the cap.
Yeah, it's a bit sweet, that one, because Test cricket, the Test cap is the one I always wanted to get for so long, and I've kind of always said that. Of course, playing for New Zealand in any format is a great privilege, but Test cricket, I think, if I didn't get a Test cap and I retired, then it would be one of those things that would always stick with me. But certainly, I hope that's not the last opportunity I get. But
you got injured. You only just bowled the 11 overs.
Yeah, got tore my calf, 25 centimeters long. So tried to bowl through it, just wasn't to be, and unfortunately had to sit on the sidelines and watch the lads bowl my overs for the rest of the game. And fortunately, we have Lionhearts like Neil Wagner and Tim Salvey, who just keep running in all day and under extreme conditions. Not really a lot to say about that game. Certainly pretty nervous when I bowled my first spell, but got onto my work after that and didn't feel out of place. Once again, hopefully another opportunity in the future, because I think Test cricket I'd absolutely adore playing and really enjoy the time out there. Do the work. It took me a good couple of months to come back from that injury. I'll do the work again to make sure that I'm in a better state to play a Test match going forward if I get another opportunity.
And obviously, during this period, I don't believe there's any sporting events taking place around the world in any kind of format. So are you using? Is it come as also as a little bit of a blessing that your body's also getting a rest? Have you ever had the chance to get this long a period of rest before?
Not for a few years. I'm not really the guy who's like, I've been fortunate to live with a couple of cricketers in my house, so we've been ticking over physically for quite a while during it, but it also keeps us sane a little bit, I think, when you're sort of locked inside. It is nice to just have some time at home. Being on the road so much, it is a fantastic job, and it does get quite tiring, hotel to hotel, and it can get also quite lonely when you're not around your close friends and family. Of course, I've got good mates in the teams I play in, but there are times where it can get a bit lonely on tour. So it is nice just to be home and just refresh, and I think it's a great opportunity just to reflect about the last few years, and you can lose a little bit of motivation sometimes when you're just playing so much cricket, and sort of lose sight of why you started and why you love it. So certainly this has been a great time, I think, for all players, just to spend some time with their loved ones, but also just reflect on their career so far, and also think what the next few years might entail. And I think for that reason, it's been really great.
You're talking about the next few years. I know that you're doing a little bit of business with your brother, Machineroad, I believe.
Yeah. So
a little bit about that.
A little bit, yeah. We're just refining at this stage. It's an application that picks up ball speed, ball tracking from your phone, but I won't divulge too much until we can kind of get it out there. But certainly in New Zealand, it's going to be released within the next month or so. But because it uses machine learning, we just need our users to use it more and more, so that it becomes more intelligent and refines itself and produces better results over time. So as that grows towards this year and hopefully into next summer, then we'll start releasing it out to the rest of the world. But pretty exciting. Obviously, nice sort of side venture, but something that I am quite passionate about in terms of. I heard some crazy stats after we did some business research, but the viewership of cricket is obviously through the World Cup gone through the roof and been some of the biggest viewerships ever. But within New Zealand, the new cricket sign-ups has dropped off by about 33 to 40%. And I think you'll find that's reasonably common across a lot of countries for many reasons, because kids can play other sports and obviously online have other options, and sometimes parents don't necessarily want to spend a weekend playing cricket, but cricket is a great game, and if we can try help in some way to keep people involved in cricket and let them have fun down at the nets or at the backyard, whilst also using their phone and getting some analytics from that, then that's great. So that's pretty much all I can give you at this stage, but certainly ask me in 6 months' time, and hopefully we'll be up and rolling then, and hopefully Machineroad will be able to be used by everyone around the world.
Yeah, no, sounds exciting. And then for you personally on the playing field, what are the ambitions for the next few years?
Well, I'm pretty realistic in the sense that I can't bowl fast like this forever, but I think this is a good opportunity just to take check of what I have accomplished in the last few years, from being a person I never thought I'd be a professional cricketer at all, to a pretty pleasing year with the New Zealand side. But looking forward, I think we were the T20 World Cup, hopefully this year, but we'll just have to wait and see how that pans out. But certainly it's a nice chance just to reflect and think forward about what I want to achieve going forward, and I guess still striving to play more Test cricket. So that's certainly a big work on. But also I do more and more love T20 cricket, as I guess I work on my skill set a bit more. And of course, one day cricket I'm enjoying at the moment too. So the more cricket I can play for New Zealand, the better. And yeah, just trying to make the most of it, and I guess trying to give back the last few years as much as I can to some of the juniors. My Parnell Cricket Club, which is my club, in Auckland, and also Auckland Grammar, where it all kind of started for me. So that'll be a focus as well, trying to get involved back there and hopefully encourage some young fast bowlers to want to play cricket, maybe not then rugby.
Yeah, so Lockie, brilliant, fantastic insight into your career so far. Really appreciate your time, and all the best for the next few years.
Appreciate it, no worries at all.
There's Neel Khagram, cricket last stories, Lockie Ferguson. Thank you.